environmental disasters, mass unemployment, immigration, open borders, bailouts and derivatives, mass media distraction, war. How are these things connected? To find out, join us at the Grassroots Connection, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. on WOIC, 1230 a.m.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how it goes.
And welcome back to the Grassroots Connection, where we provide the information you need to make an informed decision. And today we're looking at some of the things that are going on around the world in the police state. It's not necessarily an actual physical state, because we're seeing that this stuff is global. It really is. From Palestine to Iraq. I mean, we've got police state all over the place. And I want to report on it. I want to define a war crime versus protecting ourselves, because I think we get those things confused sometimes, and will justify torturing people when there is no justification for that. There is no justification. Anyway, enough of my little rant. I got some callers online, and we're going to get them up here. Wanted to just go ahead and give out our call numbers again, WOIC.com. That's WOIC.com. Enter that into your search engine or browser. Our stream pops up, and there you can enter our chat room. Also, in the chat room, you can list any URLs or whatever you'd like, as long as it's not vulgar or obscene. We do have Bright Futures in the chat room moderating. She finally got in. And I'm getting some calls that we're having some problems getting in that chat room. We're still working on it, and I will resolve it one way or the other, okay? Even if that means finding another forum. I have been known to do that, folks. Anyway, let's get back into it and then answer the phone, see what we have here. Hello, caller, are you there?
Hello, Andre.
Hey, Miss Obsidian, what's going on?
What isn't?
Yeah, that's probably better.
Except for the only thing that's really going on is the absolute insanity.
Yeah, I agree with you that here we are in election time.
Of course.
And nobody is discussing anything about these, let's say, 30,000 Iraqis being held.
Of course not. They're supposed to be hidden. That's not supposed to be known about.
Well, God knows they're only Muslims. Who cares, right?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
You know what I
me.
don't understand? Andre, let me level with you about something.
Sure.
Okay. One, people who follow Christianity, people who follow Judaism, people who follow the Muslim faith, okay? They acknowledge a supreme being that is primarily male.
Yes.
Okay?
I think on each occasion you're right, yeah.
Okay. And that deity is basically the same thing except for a different name.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the way they're acknowledged.
Exactly.
Now, when politicians and the everyday person, especially politicians and the news media, stop, shall we say, twisting things around to fit their fancy financially and globally speaking and whatnot, to instigate their hate, greed, and fear, to twist it all together, people will be a lot more peaceful about what's going on in the world.
I agree with you.
Now, what I would love to say I don't understand or comprehend, but I do comprehend and understand what's going on, sadly enough. And it literally throws my gut into a whirlwind.
Well, mine too, especially, I don't want to kind of beat up on Rich from yesterday, but we did have a conversation, I think it was like the second segment, in which he chose to defend our right to torture people. And
yes, I heard about that part.
And it's just not me. Let's just put it that way. I see it as a war crime, and I'm not alone in that.
Well,
the U.S. used to be in the same boat. I mean, they would have, if we were to go back to World War II, people would agree with me. Now I'm a pariah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, though, he's of one train of thought among several or many people that are of that same train of thought, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
what is being done in the name of the U.S., in the name of the people and all that here in the U.S. is illegal. If people here, say if I was taken from our home right now, right here, and taken to one of these places outside the U.S. and tortured, they would not have to have a reason for doing it.
No, as a
They
matter
could
of
just
fact.
simply snatch my tail up real fast, whisk me off, and start torturing me for no apparent reason whatsoever.
As a matter of fact, it's even worse than that. I mean, that was pretty much a precedent set by George W. Bush. However, President Obama's administration has gone him even further in that now they've passed some executive order which gives them the power to execute any citizen of the world, whether American or citizen of another nationality, based on just what the president says the threat of that individual could be. In other words, right now, he could say, I think Andre Smith's a threat, get rid of him, exterminate him like a roach. No judge, no jury.
Who, President Obama?
Yes, ma'am.
No. He cannot have that kind of ultimatum of power as in martial law. That is
Unfortunately,
illegal. That is unconstitutional.
Unfortunately, he's already done it.
That is unconstitutional.
I agree. I don't think anyone should be executed without benefit of a trial.
So here's my thought. How is it that he is put up ahead of the UN?
How is it that he has the Nobel Peace Prize?
That is a farce.
And listen,
Because that's a contradiction.
But listen now, if you hold political office in the United States, it is against the law for you to hold political office in another nation's government. It's illegal. So no, he cannot be the head of the UN Security Council.
Well, duh.
But he is, isn't it? He is. He represents himself as. And so we are in a constitutional free zone right now where they're creating laws and just doing what they want.
Well, then, Andre, that only means one thing. That just simply illustrates that the current U.S. government that's supposed to be serving the people, or the theatrical part of it, is not the real government, that there's another government behind that that's actually doing the deeds.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Period.
And what we see are really, I think, puppets.
Well, yeah, that's a polite way of putting it.
Well, that's what I see. Miss Subsidia, got another caller online.
Woohoo!
Yeah. I'm gonna cut you short here and try to get them in before the end of the show, okay?
Y'all have a good one.
All right, now. Thank
Later.
you. And we'll work on that chat room for you, okay?
No sweat.
All right.
Have fun.
All right. Appreciate you. And let's see who else we have online. And hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on?
I want to tell you, that man that called in just before the last caller had a beautiful voice.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of very good points. Very courageous man. I think he would have been a supporter of Barack Obama. And to flat out say, hey, look, I'm disappointed.
Well, he sounded like he was some kind of big politician or something. Was he?
I'm not sure now, and if he is, I'm gonna leave him and his anonymity alone. Yeah,
I thought he was a special guest, but
not today.
That Southern accent, it is best spoken like that, and we ought to be proud of it, really.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
And one of the things that struck me, I heard on the news about the United Nations actually condemning Israel for its behavior, that illegal blockade and that raid on those ships. That would be a reason for war if Nazi Germany had done something like that.
I'm telling you, it was an actual, that's an act of war. Period. You don't blockade waterways. That's, cutting off people's resources. People go to war for that. That's
that humanitarian, they said, they mentioned the violation of the human rights of the Palestinians.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe, just maybe, they're listening. And if we go back just a few days ago, we were talking about the DREAM Act and how they were sliding that into the military authorization bill. Hey, now that is smushed again. Okay, so obviously something's going on. People are paying attention, even if we don't think so, and they're getting back to the to Washington with the news.
Dream Act, you talking about the immigration thing?
Yes.
American Dream?
Yep.
Where they come up here and destroy America?
Yeah, isn't that a heck of a... I think it's a nightmare. But anyway, let me get to this piece here. When other countries attempt to enforce the international laws that the Americans established in order to execute Germans defeated in World War II, the U.S. government goes to work and blocks the attempt. A year ago, on October 8th, the Spanish Senate, obeying its American master, limited Spain's laws of universal jurisdiction in order to sink a legitimate war crimes case brought against George W. Bush, Barack H. Obama, Tony Blair, and Gordon Brown.
You know, people probably don't realize but there was a famous man that was executed for war crimes after World War II for being the editor of a newspaper that that said things the Jews didn't like.
Right, and they call them, Nazi sympathizers, and a lot of people don't realize that it wasn't just the generals and the officers in the army, that everyday people were held accountable, and some of them were just, again, everyday people, man. They just sympathized with the Nazis, and they lost their lives.
For what they said about Jews.
That's right.
I think that editor, it was the newspaper was Der Strom, and he didn't even he actually didn't I think he owned the newspaper, and at one time he was the editor, but he had put that in the hands of a couple of other people.
Well,
but they didn't like him, and they wanted him dead.
Oh, yeah. Let me give you another piece here. The West includes Israel, and there the horror stories are 60 years long. Moreover, if you mention any of them, you are declared to be an anti-Semite.
You're an extremist, man. So wonder they don't lock you up.
I only mention them in order to prove that I am not an anti-American, anti-British, or anti-NATO, but am simply against war crimes. It was the distinguished Zionist Jewish judge, Goldstone, who produced the UN report indicating that Israel committed war crimes when it attacked civilian population and civilian infrastructure in Gaza. For his effort, Israel declared the Zionist Goldstone to be a self-hating Jew, and the U.S. Congress, on instruction from the Israel lobby, voted to disregard Goldstone report to the UN. So even if you're Jewish, man, and you can see the crime, hey, you are a self-hating Jew. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And the United States is just glorious as long as it's talking about Ahmadinejad in Iran or Lebanon or anybody but Israel. But once they put their finger on Israel, guess what? The U.S. veto comes up.
Yep.
And it won't be condemned. Even with Obama sitting there, it shows you he is just a puppet. And all these people that are always, you turn in these talk show hosts, they're always Obama this, Obama that. Hey, he's just a scapegoat.
That's it. And they're going to turn him into a scapegoat and crucify him. They're going to do it.
When and they're going to put all those crimes on him.
And that's bull.
And they're going to leave the people responsible right there up there at the top levels of Washington society, pulling the strings for the next president. I don't care whether he's Democrat or whatever.
You got it. And that's where we got to draw the line. We know he's a puppet, but he's our puppet. And listen, if he's prosecuted, I want the rest of them prosecuted, period. And that's why the Republicans aren't bringing this up. But anyway, I thank you so much for joining us. I know the music is on, and we're out of here.
Well, sorry to hear that, but you got a success here. Your new internet numbers up, showing you getting... Yep,
they're up, and, they're attacking us on the internet, so that means we're doing something right.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much, caller, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
15 months ago, Dad had me over for some pasta fazool, which is a delicious Neapolitan dish, and he also enjoyed a